Now we're going to talk to Pennsylvania Senator, my dear friend Dave McCormick. Senator McCormick, welcome. So just a little, just say something. Give me 30 seconds on what James Lankford said. I want to talk about your good op-ed piece in the Journal today. But weigh in for me on this. You don't want another 15 million illegals crossing the border. The country, we shut the border. It was a great achievement by Mr. Trump, and the voters loved him for it.
Yeah, and Democrats and Republicans had worked together on these 6 appropriations bills, the funding for DHS. This is all performance art, Larry, because as you said in your riff, this won't affect the funding for ICE at all. This is going to affect FEMA and the Coast Guard and the Secret Service. So I'm hoping we'll get, I understand the White House and some of the leadership are working through a path that Senator Lankford discussed, but it's silly, and I think the American people are sick and tired of these games and the shutting down the government, and that's why I voted to keep to pass these 6 bills, and I'm never going to vote to shut the government down. It's bad practice. It's bad business.
Yes, indeed. So, Senator, to your op-ed piece, good piece. Let me focus on ACA, Obamacare. I thought that the Obamacare subsidies, which were expiring, were going to be the make or break issue in this continuing resolution. All right, it turns out we're on immigration and deportation and so forth and so on. So what's happening to these subsidies? You bemoan the fact that they're too large. They should be capped. They should be limited. I couldn't agree with you more. You're spot on. What's the state of play on these Obamacare subsidies?
Well, just the piece, the op-ed was really the perspective of a business guy who, couldn't imagine that you would be trying to put these modest reforms in place, whether it was on the Medicaid reforms we did in the Working Families Tax Cut Act, or whether these modest reforms that we're trying to do in the ACA subsidies. And you have the Democrats saying that these are horrific, they're going to do terrible things for our healthcare industry, which just is incredible. And the truth of the matter is that those subsidies were put in place because of COVID, and they were going to be the Democrats voted to extend them, where somebody making $500,000 a year would continue to get subsidies. There's a lot of fraud, and so Republicans are trying to, some of us at least, are trying to negotiate a much reformed version of that, and those conversations are underway. But some people in Pennsylvania, their premiums are going to go up by 20, 30, 40%. Those are people that are living paycheck to paycheck. Those are the people we want to protect. We don't want to protect people that are making $500,000 a year from the subsidies. They shouldn't get the subsidies.
So the idea is, so that's been pushed back, all right? That's not a deal maker or a deal breaker. Those conversations are continuing. In other words, you have yet to reform or revise the policy.
That's right. It hasn't happened yet. And the point I make in the op-ed is that we did make reforms in the case of Medicaid, and you would have, the screaming, like the horrific, and the truth of the matter is it slows the rate of growth from 4.5%, 5% to 2.5%, the rate of inflation. So we're still going to have $800 billion of new spending, additional spending over the next 10 years. And this is when you come to Washington like I did and like you did, you want to make a dent in this out of control spending. You want to reform it, and the op-ed was just saying how hard it is to reform, and honestly, it ended with the point of if I was a CEO and told my shareholders that I was headed to bankruptcy, I had no plan to reduce spending or reform, I'd get fired on the spot. And maybe that's how we should think about some of our elected officials.
I think, Senator, can I make this writ large? Okay, Medicaid and Obamacare and. This is welfare fraud. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's all across the country. Now, it surfaced, I guess, in Minneapolis with the Somalian welfare fraudsters, and there's now a new assistant attorney general, I guess, who's going to look after that, and I'm sure the agencies, I'm sure Congress will want to go in. This goes back to what Elon Musk wanted to do with waste, fraud, and abuse. The GAO study that there was $550 billion of waste, fraud, and you see what I'm going at?
Absolutely.
You're a smart guy. You're a very smart guy, and you're a super successful person in private business and so forth. But I think your battle is just beginning. I think the amount of fraud is so huge in all these big states, Senator, that I won't say there's no end to it, but you know what? This looks like there's no end to it.
Well, and Minnesota, the $9 billion of fraud there is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And you look at any of these programs, whether it's SNAP or whether it's Medicaid or Medicare, there's enormous fraud. There's enormous misappropriation of the taxpayer dollars, and we need to tackle this. The DOGE effort was designed to do just that. It didn't go probably as far and as effectively in some areas as we would like, but we can't lose the fight. We got to keep pushing on this because ultimately we're on an unsustainable path. And the best way to deal with that path is to root out this waste, fraud, and abuse in our government. And I would challenge anyone to make the case that it isn't pervasive and that it isn't a huge cost to the taxpayer.
I mean, basically, you know, just to put it, I don't want this to be any harder than it needs to be. Big government socialism. Big government socialism has been stealing the taxpayers blind, Senator. You know it. I know it. Lots of other people know it. I dare say there are some Democrats that know it, but they're afraid to step up to it. You know what I mean? It's endemic. It's endemic to the size and scope of government stealing taxpayers blind. And somebody's got to stop it.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm coming as someone who campaigned, and you know this, you followed the campaign as someone who wanted to shake up Washington. And I think just keep putting the light and the lack of compromise on these things is what we need people to do. And so whether it's term limits to get people out who have been here forever, or whether it's cutting back on this enormous fraud, or having the reforms in these programs we need, I think we need to have a change mindset. And that's what President Trump has done, which I give him all the credit for. It's a change mindset. It's not good enough, and we need to make radical change to make it better. Yeah,
you got to be transformative. You're a good man, Senator Dave McCormick, great state of Pennsylvania.
Thanks,
we appreciate it very much. Take care. Talk soon. Coming up here.